To order. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. David Heinhold, lead us.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of minutes.
So
Do I have a
moved.
motion? And a second? Second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Public comment. I do not have any public comment cards.
Nothing yet online.
Nothing on social media. Anybody from the public that would like to speak? Clerk Treasurer.
We have Civil City payroll from July 21st in the amount of $522,298.52.
I move we approve the Civil City payroll.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And there were 3 weeks in between meetings this time, so there's a second payroll from August 4th, 2023 in the amount of $534,635.99.
Motion?
I move we approve the second Civil City payroll.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
We have Civil City claims in the amount of $659,652.50.
I move we approve the Civil City claims.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Sewage claims in the amount of $698,724.83.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And then finally, we have water claims in the amount of $273,395.86.
I move we approve the water claims.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. You also have water bill appeal.
Yeah, let me see if E-Man wants to come in here. I just, if you want to, that would be great. Yeah, E-Man has an
Matt
appeal
Leffler.
for the water department. Do you want to move until E-Man is in here to the Ellis Hardwood invoice?
Sure.
So we have an invoice here from Ellis Hardwoods for tree removal of 2 trees during an emergency storm situation. It's a total of $18,000, and I'm asking, this did not get onto the docket. I just received it on yesterday morning. So I'm asking for board approval to pay this invoice.
And I would like to thank Ellis Hardwoods for their quick turnaround. The storm hit about 1:45 in the morning, and they were out there the next afternoon about 3 p.m. with all the trees that were down in the county area. They made us a priority. And this, on Woodward, we have one tree that was 100 foot tall, and then the other tree was actually leaning into that. And if that other tree hadn't been there, it would have crushed the house. And we needed both of these trees to be taken down. And we tried AC Pressler and LaPorte businesses first. They did not have 2 cranes to be able to address this problem. Ellis was the only one with 2 cranes that had availability. So using AC as a reference, he said this was an excellent price, and we appreciated their quick turnaround.
Where are they based out of?
North Liberty.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve payment.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion.
I assume where our street department can do these, we certainly try to do it in-house, but this was pretty serious, yeah.
You know, the crane that we have couldn't have handled, because they had to start at the very top and slowly come down, and it would have put our guys in danger trying to do that, and put those homes in danger trying to knock it down. It was,
It's amazing we didn't lose that. We didn't have worse damage with those storms. Those pretty amazing storms, yeah.
and the other tree was supposed to be taken down But if that one had been taken down earlier, it
It
would have
would've-
crushed the house.
Yeah.
So it
So,
worked out good.
Serendipity.
Serendipity.
Was the biggest one that felt, like, there was no issues with it prior to that, right? Like, we weren't aware that, right, so,
but there were some issues up
Yeah.
with that tree. But when you came down the overpass, if you were to look to the east, it was the tallest tree that you could see in the city. So a little sadness there, but again, safety was an issue. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. E-Man is here. Would we like to go to 1408 Lincoln Way?
So we had a similar situation last month, I think. Someone contacted our office stating that they were paying for more units of trash than their property was zoned as. So Miss Carissa Ebert at 1408 Lincoln Way called in stating that her property is not a 2-unit residence. So we were billing her, I believe, in 2013. She started service. We fixed the 5/15 to 6/15 billing, so I corrected that billing to give her a credit for that month of trash. And again, if we go back a year, it's 124.92. She's asking for anything beyond that, but I said, based on the previous decision, it would probably be just the 1 year we would go back.
E-Man did contact our current billing software provider, MuniLink, to see if there is the ability for us to put quantities on the bill. It's clunky looking right now because it adds the quantity to all of the services, and that's just not correct. Some multi-units are a shared meter, so it would be 1 water quantity, 2 trash services. So we're trying to work through some things because obviously we want to be as transparent as possible. And we try to be as transparent as possible, publishing fees and rates and everything that we do. So we're trying to find a workaround. We don't have a solution yet, but we are looking into it with MuniLink, our current billing software provider.
This should at least catch, hopefully, if anyone notices that they're paying for more units than they should be. Hopefully, in this next billing, we at least find if there's any additional that we should be fixing.
But it clearly states on the bill if it's one or two multi.
It does not.
No,
It states a.
An
it's a
amount.
line item and an amount, so it would not say trash times 2. But the new table will list, garbage is the only affected service until we get to many units. I'm not sure where the line is, but, so it will at least let folks know that they're paying for units of trash moving forward.
Yeah, these two, the last appeal and then this one, only affects the trash They were only paying
Correct.
for 2 units for trash, not for anything else. I think, to be fair to the utility department, there's an onus on the property owner to pay attention to this, because the city wouldn't know if something's converted necessarily from a 2-unit, a multi-unit to a single unit. We had this situation with this house. A good example would be on Michigan Avenue, where the property owner did request a change and then realized that they were no longer grandfathered, and it kind of affected them later on with trying to convert it back to multi-unit. So with properties as old as we have in the community that have been one multi-unit, single unit, I think it's fair to say that the owner's got to pay attention. I'm not trying to be rude, but they got to pay attention to their bill. So,
We're trying to find a solution that will work for everyone. This table that we're talking about might create more questions, I
Right.
think, but I mean, if that's the solution, then that's the solution. It's just kind of clunky. We're working through it, so.
the city doesn't want to overcharge the residents, but there's thousands of units,
Well,
and there's no way.
the city doesn't want to overcharge residents, but when we are under the impression that it's a 2-unit, we
Correct.
are being billed as a 2-unit, so we're not keeping any money. The trash fund is a pass-through fund, so if we think your property, because we don't know any better, or we're not told, or this was from 15 years ago and it's passed through 2 systems, if our billing system says it's a 2-unit, then we provide that information to the trash provider, who provides the residents with 2 trash cans. We're being billed twice, the city of LaPorte, I should say, is being billed twice for that unit, and we are then billing the customer twice. So, we're not keeping any money. There's no,
It's all a pass-through. We're
Yeah,
the
it is, it is.
fiduciary or trustee of
Yes.
that money as it passes through.
Well, I
and
think
in
the
long
homeowner
run,
should have
we're-
realized that there was 2 trash cans at the residence.
Well, that's what's
that's
causing
what,
this,
yeah, that's what
That's
is,
how people are becoming aware.
yeah.
So I mean, I think what we did at the last meeting, or was it 2 meetings ago possibly, that where we refunded 1 year and stopped there. Because really, by refunding 1 year, we're taking money from, from all taxpayers and refunding one person or one individual, one property owner. I mean, I think we could easily argue we shouldn't do that at all either. But I think that's a reasonable thing to try to help the situation, to try to, compensate a little bit here. But, and hopefully the fact that we've talked about it now at 2 meetings gets people to take a look at the bill. That's a good thing. I don't know if there's a way to possibly, well, hopefully by making that change, if it creates some questions by property owners and they call in, that might help, like,
Yeah.
if there's, I don't know how many more of these
That's what-
situations
that's
there
what we
are.
were thinking too.
But,
It might be- yep.
some extra noise level, right, might get some property owners to double check the bill and then realize, oh my gosh, I am paying for 2, or, whatever. So, and I don't know if there's a way to, like, if we could run something to find out how many single residences have 2, totes. That's probably too much to try to pull off, but, well, hopefully the noise
It's
level
also
helps.
in the homeowner's decision, I believe, if they have chosen to turn a 2-unit into a 1-unit or a multi-unit into a single-family residence now. So, and that always doesn't come before, I don't believe that always comes up before the city.
With the board's support, if we decide to give this 1 year of service credit, I'd like to be able to have the attorney send a letter or an agreement that says this completes it, they agree, so they won't be coming back for the other years previous.
Certainly could do that.
Just something simple with the board's support.
Will it show up as a credit, or do we actually issue
No,
a check?
we're showing a credit. That's what's easier, is what we decided.
But I don't want this board to give a credit, and then all of a sudden, we're gonna come back because that resident isn't happy, and then we're gonna be dealing with the other years as well. So I'd prefer to do
That's a
it
good point.
with an agreement.
Yeah.
Well, then we would
Simple.
need to do it for the last person as well that we did it for.
Well, we have a meeting this Friday because of that specific situation, wanting more after the board, so. I
Even though he
think-
didn't show up to his appeal.
No, he
Right.
didn't.
So
So,
really, since it's a pass-through accounting situation, like, that individual can go, they should probably reach out to the waste company. I mean, we don't provide the service, right? So,
We provide the bill, I think would be
Right.
their argument, if I'm playing devil's advocate.
so do I have a motion for the 1 year garbage service credit with the understanding that there would be a signed agreement between the city and the resident that this will solve all issues and complete the agreement?
so
So,
moved.
second.
Further discussion?
Well, just, so Mr. Otis, in that, these situations like this, is there, from a legal standpoint, do property owners have any legal basis for, like,
I
suing the city for back?
don't think so.
I wouldn't think so either.
Because
so-
the rates are made, they're available publicly,
Yeah.
Correct?
Yes.
They're required to be by.
They're
They-
approved by the
They
council.
have to be
States or
read
county?
twice at a council. I mean, we just went through the whole trash
Yes.
contract change and trash
Right.
ordinance, because it's not just the contract that Board of Works reviews and approves. It's also an ordinance that goes to city council and is read twice, because you're changing fees for, it's advertised in the newspaper.
Right.
I mean,
I don't believe the onus is on the city, and I don't believe we actually need to refund any money. I think we're trying to do the fair, right, reasonable thing by giving them each a year of credit.
and of course, we want our billing to be correct. Of course, we want our system to be correct. Good data in, good data out. I mean, we need assistance from residents with that by reviewing their water bill, utility bill.
So with that, I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Eman.
Thank you, Eman.
Department head reports. Craig Phillips, Planning. Craig has been a busy man.
Good morning. Yeah. In addition to putting the finishing touches and coming towards the end of the process for the 39 North annexation in about a month or so here, been busy with wrapping up the 18th Street project, working with Attorney Otis on the last minute details on getting that project going any day now as far as breaking ground on the first units out there. So we're excited to report that. I reported before that the comprehensive and thoroughfare plan process is underway. We're in the process of doing consultant selections for that, and we'll be coming to the board with a contract in the next couple of months. We're going through the NDOT process because we received a certain amount of federal funding for that project as well. Also working, putting the finishing touches on the streetscape, downtown streetscape pattern book in conjunction with the Bid District Long-Term Planning Committee. So taking a look at streetscape furniture, lighting, pavers, planters, those sorts of things going forward for the future for downtown to kind of do systematic replacement of what we have in place now that's currently aging out. And working on other development agreements and the establishment, looking into the establishment of a residential TIF for the city, starting that process. And then also working with David and our consultants and others to wrap up the Trails, Greenways, and Blueways master plan. So yes, it's been it's been busy.
And I'd also like to thank Craig for his leadership with housing opportunities in the Koch building, converting that to Ivy Towers, which would be an affordable
Flats.
Ivy Flats apartment complex. And I appreciate what Craig's done, what Jordan Stanfield from Housing Opportunities has done, and then the engagement of our residents that live in that area with the concerns. They've been very respectful, and you know, want to have as much information. It was nice to see the council meeting packed, standing room only last evening, and appreciate that as we move forward. You know, one thing we've heard is about housing, affordable housing for all. And there will be a meeting this evening in transparency with the,
Board of Zoning Appeals.
to deal with,
A special exception for a, what's called a philanthropic and eleemosynary institution, which is basically a long-term for the social services, the wraparound social services that'll be on site as part of the facility for Ivy Flats, so.
and when you've seen what Housing Opportunity has done, not only across from St. Peter's Church and the development they've done there, but in Valparaiso, Michigan City, and Portage, it's been impressive. And they will have,
Well, here in LaPorte.
and here in, that's what I mean, across from St.
Yeah.
Pete's. And then they will have $7.5 million through a grant that will allow them to upgrade the Koch building. So I think the value of these dollars will go to good use. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Tim Warner, Water.
Good morning to the board. Crews are out just taking care of some problematic hydrants, no drainers, stuff like that that we like to get addressed before winter. Other than that, we're just plugging away with the I Street project. We've been out there and done some tie-ins for HRP to try to keep those costs down for the project. That project's moving forward nicely. And other than that, I do have something on the agenda later for our well field.
And the 18th Street, again, we've had a lot of questions and concerns. It's difficult as you pass through 18th Street at I Street, that patch of
Gravel?
Yeah,
gravel.
that's where the tie-ins are being made to the existing infrastructure right there. There's a water main that has to be tapped right there. I've spoke with John from HRP about dressing that up every night at the end of the day just to make sure residents in the area can maneuver that patch a little better. I know it's, I keep saying this, I know it's inconvenient, but you know, to make progress, we gotta have construction.
And the other side of the road is solid, so I mean, if you-
Yeah, and
everybody works together, you can
that
go
patch
around.
is safe. It's just a little rough to go over. And you're not gonna, you know, it's safe to travel over that patch. You just need to slow down and take your time while maneuvering over the patch.
Jerry Jackson, wastewater.
Got lots of rain over the weekend. It came in slow, thank goodness, you know, we were over 3 inches. So we didn't have any overflows, we didn't get any calls about basement backups, some minor catch basin flooding, so it was, yeah, I thought it was gonna be much worse with all that rain. We're testing alum now for, which, aluminum phosphate, or sulfate rather, for, phosphorus removal. We got comfortable using ferric, and ferric chloride works, and we're in compliance, no problems, everything's good. But we have a potential to save some money with alum. So we're gonna test it, see how it works. We are starting now, cause we've got our monthly average in good shape, and if alum doesn't work so well, we can switch back to ferric and still be in compliance for the month. To give you kind of a scale, the ferric will cost us about $120,000 a year. So it's pretty significant bucks to remove phosphorus, and we can, I don't know, 10-20% of that we could save if alum works. So I think it's worthy of a test. And it's made over in Michigan City, so that's kind of nice too. And I got more business in the agenda later then.
Nick Minnick, Engineering.
People may have noticed that things have slowed down a little bit on Truesdale. There's gonna be some utility work for the next phase. Portion of the crew that was working on that project has now transitioned to Darlington Street. Just kind of wanted to mention that Darlington Street is a holdover project from Community Crossings, because it's a little bit bigger than some of the other work we were doing last year. We don't have a dedicated paving program this year because we're, as you guys know, trying to build back up our matching money for Community Crossings. So this year's Community Crossings paving is going into numbers and letters, but you know, we are still between Truesdale, Darlington, 6th Street by the high school, F Street by the high school, and then I Street later this fall. We're going to see quite a few.
Well, we do have a
full
paving program.
Yes,
so.
yes. Just not we have several projects and not one large citywide program. So we're going to get quite a few streets reconstructed versus just resurfaced too. So it's kind of it's an exciting year to see some really good quality projects, and you'll see distributed paving. We don't have the same type of program we have regularly, but that's really because of how the funding works. I mean, we don't receive enough match dollars annually to cover our match for Community Crossings.
But if you want to see an example of what we're talking about, look at Monroe Manor. And look how nice that looks. New sidewalks, new roads, and we'll be doing the same thing. So we are paving, just in a different way to do projects.
And I think what we're trying to do is use additional projects and additional funds, because in our asset management program, we've turned a corner where we are now, we want to focus more on reconstruction of local streets, so smaller streets, maintenance of kind of the ones that have been paved recently, but then reconstruction of local streets, which is what you're going to see more and more of. We also, ADA and 50/50 sidewalk programs are moving along pretty well. They're going to shift focus to our CDBG sidewalks. We've got the same contractor working on both of those. Most of the CDBG sidewalks are around Lincoln School, so we want to make sure that they get that going, and as many sidewalks can be completed by the start or shortly thereafter school as possible, and then they'll shift back to ADA programs.
Will that still be this week, or next week, I mean?
Yeah, they're finishing up Hawthorne Street, which is an ADA project, this week. The goal is to have that one done this week and then shift over to right around Lincoln next week.
Nick Otis, Legal. Jeff Batchelor, welcome back, sir. Streets and Code.
Thank you. Kind of want to address one of the things that came up in last night's city council meeting. A gentleman got up there and said that he'd walked the city, and over on 707 Niles, he said there's a car on Jack's. I went out this morning, went through that area. There's not even a car parked on the street on Niles Street. So I don't know. He can call me in my office and we can talk about it, but there was nothing even on the street there. We're picking up sticks. We're going around and starting that again. We're hanging the banner for Cheeseburger in Paradise down there. We're cutting grass. We're doing tree trimming. And then we're also starting the painting program to go around and do all the streets.
Chief Breton, Police.
Just a couple things. We were getting several complaints today about shots fired. This is our week of combat course on our range. So there's going to be a lot of volley shooting, several shots at a time, then a space, and then the county's out as well. So just, that'll be going on all week. If you've seen, we're rolling out the leased pickup trucks for the canines. We have one out. I've heard some complaints from some citizens stop me and say they're hard on gas. They're actually getting 3 miles per gallon more on the pickup truck than they did the SUV, and it is a cheaper vehicle. And then August 18th, we have a graduation at ILEA down south of Indianapolis, so we'll be bringing another officer on for field training.
Mark Schreiber, Parks.
Morning. A couple items for the public. First of all, our activity center for older adults at 901 Lincoln Way. We'll be having an open house on Monday, August 21st from 4 to 6 o'clock. A great opportunity for seniors or families to come out and take a look at it, or anybody that just has a general interest of what the new space looks like and what the opportunities are. Perhaps you have a neighbor or a loved one that you think might be a good fit for it, but you want to take a look. Again, Monday, August 21st, 4 to 6. Then as far as Lake Fest, we're about, a little over a week removed from there. Just want to thank all of those that, make this event possible. A big part of that is our sponsors. Over 80% of our costs are covered by sponsor dollars. We couldn't do it without them. I mean, this event is almost entirely free to the public. In order to do that, we have to have that support from the community. Also want to thank our community partners that put on events or assisted with events. I want to thank the committee who put in a lot of work. This is about a 8 to 9 month planning process, and I thank them for their time and all their efforts, all of our volunteers. I know we just came off a storm, but we had a pretty significant storm that Friday into Saturday, the weekend of Lake Fest. So I want to thank, first of all, the park staff for all their cleanup effort and the hours they put in to get the parks ready on that Saturday. Also want to thank wastewater. They came out and drained off a pretty big pool of water that we had there in front of the amphitheater, obviously with the big concert that night and the collective market going on. And then obviously thank Street as well for all their efforts. It really is a citywide effort, and it's much appreciated. So thank you everybody who was involved for a successful Lake Fest this year.
Mark, congratulations to you and your team. It was fabulous. A great weekend.
Yep, thank you.
Beth West, Transport.
Morning. Last week was one of our busier weeks. We had over 800 riders due to it being the first of the month. First of the month is always our busiest time with people getting benefit checks. They're doing all their errands, so they use us. July, we had just shy of 3,000 riders, which was down a little, but because of it being summer and school out, our numbers do dip a little bit. We do expect them to spike starting next week when school's back in session. We help out the county special education program that's being held through the schools. They have a job study program that they do, and their students utilize us to get back and forth to work. We also help children get back and forth to school that aren't on a bus route and their parents leave early for work, so they have to have a safe way to get back and forth to school. So we make sure that they get back and forth to school without a problem. We had some staffing issues last month. I had to get rid of a driver, but luckily we found a new driver. She's doing wonderful. The riders love her, the staff loves her. She is very eager to work. So she's getting acclimated with driving, which she's doing a wonderful job of doing. We're gonna start cross-training her to dispatch after Labor Day, once things calm down and we get school back in session and everybody kind of relaxes. And NERC is gonna be here this week for their annual bus inspections. They go through all of our buses and make sure that Frank's doing what he's supposed to be doing, and he does. So we're thankful for that.
Thank you. Jess Bruder, Communications.
Good morning. I just wanted to quickly remind everybody, we do have our last Friday Night Live event of the season this Friday night. It's the Cheeseburger in Paradise. Thank you, Jeff, for your team putting up the banner. We've got Cabanarama. They're a trop rock band playing everything from Bob Marley and Jimmy Buffett to Kenny Chesney and Zach Brown Band. Should be a really good time. There's different vendors facing off for the title of Best Cheeseburger. So kind of like Taco Fest in that regard. We expect a nice sized crowd, so hope everybody can come out.
Thank you. Lindsay Leap.
Good morning, everyone. I'm filling in for Bert Cook this morning. We did have our small business roundtable on August 1st. We discussed outdoor dining, parking, and also the riverfront liquor licenses. A lot of good questions. Thank you, Nick, for being our speaker on that. And right now we are just getting ready for our new teachers to go back to school. So we've got welcome bags. We used to do an event, but in lieu of that, we're just doing the bags this year. So if there's any local businesses that would like to contribute to those bags, they can just call our office, 324-8584, and we can figure out a pickup or drop-off time for those items. Thank you.
Lindsay, I'm sad that the school corporations didn't want to do the new teacher. I thought Beechwood last year was a great brief event. I don't know how we do something, teach the teachers how to play golf or something while we're out there, but it's just something that was really nice for all the teachers to come to, so.
It was. I think one of the issues is we like to wait until after the school year starts, just because that way we know how many teachers are being hired and we can get the bags, a total number of bags. But that also kind of doesn't help with our attendance because those new educators have other things going on after that school year, or after the school day. So if we can find a different time to do it, we used to do a luncheon, but that kind of also didn't have the attendance that we wanted. So if we can find something, it'd be great to have them back out again. But I think the welcome bags, at least, we can show them that we appreciate them.
Absolutely. Okay. Annette Leffler, request for use. It's that time of year, football season.
Morning. So we have a couple requests. The first, nothing new, actually. So the first one is the annual Pop Warner Parade. And it is not a full closure. They don't request a full closure. They request like a closing, street closure as they walk from Kiwanis to Kessling. And the police have always been real cooperative with them in helping with that rolling closure. And that's what their request is.
Motion,
Motion to approve?
Second?
discussion, all good with streets?
I wanted to mention that I did send all of these to Andy Snyder, who can't be here today because he's looking at our new fire truck. And he had no questions or opposition to any of these requests.
Further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
The second one that I have is for the Dragon Boat races. A pretty big event at Fox Park using Stone Lake. Or, I'm sorry, at Soldiers Memorial Park using Stone Lake. And their request is for Grangemouth to be closed between Waverly and Stone Lake Boulevard. And it's basically for the entire day from 6 to 6.
All good, police, streets, Andy's good. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, all I'm gonna say is, this is Dunebrook. Oh, that's a great organization, and we've become accustomed to first place finishes over Michigan City. So I'm sure Mayor Perry will avoid putting a boat in, but if he does have the courage to do so, we look forward to that challenge. So I'm looking Jerry Jackson, Tim, Tucker, buckle up, because I know you guys
Seriously,
did the boat.
If anybody has an organization who wants something fun to do, this event is incredible. It's so much fun. And I would like to say that the city of LaPorte was the inaugural gold winner. We won the inaugural races, so that was kind of good.
So we look forward to a repeat. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
The LaPorte High School has sent in a request to close 2 small sections of 2 separate streets to allow for people to walk from the high school to Kiwanis on home football nights. So it's a small closure, and it's usually from about 5:30 to whenever the game's over, and get people out of the stadium about 9 o'clock on, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Friday nights. Friday
Motion
night
to
lights.
approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
What about deserving children? Oh, Beth is doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I'm doing roof SIP.
I didn't even see the signature at the bottom. Sorry, Beth.
Roof SIP basically is, we're just giving notice. Back when Mayor Milo was in office, even though we're not shutting the street down, she's requested us to come before Board of Works to give you notice that we're gonna impede traffic. So we've been doing this every year with the board, just to let you know. The good thing is, we're only doing it for 1 day. Back when COVID hit, it turned out to be a wonderful thing for all of us, just to do it 1 day. So it'll be Friday, September 8th, from about 5 a.m. till about 6 p.m. We usually wrap things up when the football goes on the air, so, but we'll have people out in the street collecting funds. We'll have lunch, which tends to increase traffic from 11 to 1. And then when the Pioneer ladies show up with their pies, we have more traffic. So we just want to notify everybody that traffic's going to be a little intense throughout that day, so.
But we don't actually need a motion, correct?
No, this is just informal.
Because nothing's being shut down.
Right, yeah, we're just, and we notify all the emergency departments, and I get in touch with street to have the signs put up. They've got special signs and stuff for us, so.
Thank you for all you do there.
Thank you.
Chief Breton.
You have a letter of resignation. One of our officers, Tempest Miller, that came to us in October, leaving for another department that is closer to her home and children. And I guess asking for the accepted resignation and then for the Merit Commission to hire.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Like to thank Tempest for her work with the city and wish her luck in future endeavors. David Heinold.
Yeah, David Heinold, City Planning Department, just bringing a outdoor dining request from 706 Jefferson Avenue. It's Fresco. So, you know, they have a smaller building. They have an existing patio that's within their property, but they want to extend that out. Met with Nick Minnick about that one, and as long as there's at least 5 foot from the curb to the patio, which they've kind of had to adjust that, but I believe the applicant is here as well, if you want to ask any questions.
If you have not had an opportunity to dine at Fresco, they have wonderful shrimp wraps, but their food is amazing. So, I don't know, is Susan here? Oh, well, there she is. Susan, anything you'd like to add, please come forward.
Just want to appreciate the city for all that they've done to help us get opened and started, and it's been a pleasure to work with everyone here on the city, and it's really is appreciated, and the tree trimming was appreciated as well. So we're happy to be here in LaPorte, and we like it and have adopted it as our own community. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Member Kosher.
No, just, it looks like, I don't know if these were your comments, but like, kind of move that, the front edge
Yeah.
back to allow
Yeah.
for 5 total feet.
Yeah, so our standard, if the sidewalk is along a road, is at least 5 feet. So ADA wants 5-foot sidewalks anyway, but we need at least 5 feet. If that path of travel is along the curb line, 4 foot is the requirement per our downtown design standard, or outdoor dining standards, but our city standards would like to have 5 at the curb, so they're willing to do that. I think it'll all fit well, and should still provide safe access for anyone who needs to pass through there.
That's good.
Wonderful.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Craig Phillips.
Good morning. I have a request for approval of a purchase offer. This is for property we previously discussed, which is a 10-foot strip and a 20-foot strip on the east and west sides of property that kind of bisects the 18th Street property that we're working on with Steiner Homes. This is in an effort to provide some setback for the property owner that sits in the middle of those two parcels that we intend to develop. We previously put this out for bid, did not receive any bids, which offered us the opportunity to work directly with others to purchase the property. We received a purchase offer from Russ Jensen, who happens to be the property owner that in between those two sections, in the amount of $3,000, and I would request that the board approve the purchase so that we can get this closing taken care of, and we can also help facilitate that 18th Street development as well. So we're moving along with the 18th Street development. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Jensen helping guide Mr. Phillips along on this project, and certainly appreciate his care and concern. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
So just to double check, this is where like basically that the homeowner will have a little additional property.
Yes.
Like that little strip kind of
On each side.
On each side, okay.
And when will we see Mr. Steiner? I know it's got to be coming up very soon, but breaking
I think we're closing any
ground.
day now.
Yeah.
And he's chomping at the bit to break ground, so he's already been in contact with engineering and building regarding the first steps necessary for the first permits on the project. And I know we're working on discussions with regard to utility extensions that need to happen as well, so.
Do I have a motion? Oh, I do have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thanks.
Jerry Jackson.
Request permission to close Waverly Road to dredge the Waverly Road channel. We do that every 2-3 years, depending on how much sand washes in. Planning for Monday, 8/28. The operation we typically do is have an excavator dig a hole on the Pine Lake side as a sand trap. And while they're doing that, we get our dredge out and we clean out underneath the bridge, primarily just so boat traffic can through. The sand washes in off of Pine Lake and we take it out. The park and water use the sand for their projects. So, and I got our DNR permit, which is to do that work, and it's effective at 8/21. So I'd ask permission to close Waverly Road, probably 3 days. And in the past, we've been able to close it during the day, like 7 to 3 or so, and then open it up at night and earlier in the morning. I'd plan on doing that again.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
I think it's important too for the boaters to know that there won't be any traffic, boat traffic that will be allowed from the public launch at Stone Lake in the Pine Lake during that period. We'll have several hoses and stuff in the water, and that's been an issue in the past of boaters trying to make it from Stone Lake into Pine Lake or vice versa. So the channel will also be closed during that time, and a lot of times that equipment stays in the water overnight. So the channel will be closed that whole week at night also.
I'll let the Lake Association know, and also the marinas, so they're.
And will there be signage in the water that says at night?
We did that last year, and I think or last 2 years ago, we'll do it again.
Yeah, and we'll post it at the boat launch on Stone Lake also.
Further discussion?
Just, is that typical, is it annual?
No, it's every 2 or 3 years.
Just kind of depends on,
Yeah, we monitor how much sand's in the tube, and it varies, you know, if we go through a dry period and the lake drops, well, that hurries it up too.
Okay.
So it depends on lake level and how much sand moved.
All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Letter and numbers.
This is contract 2B, which is the streets. Pay request number 4. The HRP, the payment due is $107,421.25, 107,421.25.
Jerry, we don't have any of the pay requests, I don't
Don't you?
believe, for those two.
Okay. The first one, well, that brings us to 12%. Let me pass these over.
Thank you.
I'm gonna quick grab the numbers off them. Okay. Pass those down.
So can you repeat that now?
It's this one we're doing first. 2B. This is 2B, we're doing this one first.
After I pass.
Pay request 4.
2B was the first one, and that brought us up to 12%.
That's 107,421.25.
Motion.
So moved.
A second,
All in favor?
aye.
Approved.
Thank you, and the next one is 4A, that's the water main and storm sewer work. That amount is $245,046.32, 245,046.32, and that brings us up to 38% of the job.
Make a motion to approve.
Second,
Discussion, and HRP really has done a great job.
They, you know, this is big project number 2 for them, and they have stepped up. They've done nice work.
And the young man, John,
yeah.
has done to communicate with the residents and issues. I've really appreciated his efforts. So.
Yeah, good contractor. Yeah.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Request for pump replacement at Oakwood.
This is our Oakwood sewage lift station. It's, as you go over the wood bridge, as you're heading toward the beach, you'd be on the left, kind of at the trailhead there. The pumps are 2011 vintage, so they're reaching the end of their life. That's a pretty heavily used pump station. And the wet well has got corrosion due to hydrogen sulfide, which is typical of a lift station. So the project involves replacing the pumps, the piping inside the wet well, coating the wet well after we do some repairs on it, replacing the lid. I'll follow up with a controls project that'll come a little later, but this is kind of the important part of this job. We would do the bypass pumping and probably assist some with the cleaning of the wet well. Have a mechanical contractor do the pump work and a separate contractor do the spraying of the coating of the wet well. It would, the intent is to put with the mechanical contractor in charge of the job, and I'd have quotes back on our next meeting.
And how will this be funded?
It's out of our capital budget. We have a continuing every year line item on lift station maintenance. The next bigger project is our McClung Road lift station that's gonna be reconstructed. I'm hoping I can bid that with the McClung Road sewer extension, do that all as one. So it'd be 2 different, well, it's our capital fund, but the lift station out of lift station maintenance budget and the sanitary out of the sanitary budget.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Is the permission to quote, though, is the quote for replacement of the pump or for all of the stuff, like repainting the inside of the wet well?
It'd be for all the work.
For everything,
Yeah, it'd
okay.
be for all the work.
Okay.
There's enough coordination with that I think it makes sense to put the mechanical contractor kind of in the driver's seat.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Tim Warner.
Good morning again. So today we're looking for acceptance of our energy savings proposal. That's for the Soldier Memorial Well Field. This would be the first process. We had a committee put together, a city team here of Nick, Jerry, Todd Taylor, and myself. Went over the qualifications of the contractor, scored them. We only had one contractor that applied for it, but I think it was the consensus of the group that that's who we, you know, they're the best fit for the job. They used the well drillers that we prefer and that we use. So I guess I don't know the whole process of this part. I think we're just going to accept Bowen as our preferred contractor at this point. And I can turn in the score sheets that we have from everybody. They were all scored in the 80-90% of the job, so.
We're keeping a file on with score sheets and everything, kind of going through the process, even though we received one proposal. What you would do in an energy savings program like this is, you know, if you had several, you might go to interviews or something like that. We've done the due diligence and looked through the proposal, and everybody's very comfortable with the contractor and the work they're proposing to provide. The next step is now developing a contract with a cost associated. So what we're asking of the board to do at this point is to allow us to accept the Bowen proposal and move forward into the contracting phase.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 3-0. Approved. Nick Minnick.
Pay application number 2 for the Truesdale improvements. The application is in the amount of $1,298,753.43. Everything's on this phase of the project is going pretty well, and recommend approval.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So where would this take us to, this pay application?
It's
As far as
a little less than half of the project.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Stone Lake Trail, Phase 2 and 3.
We're at the point where we're ready to bid the Stone Lake Trail Phase 2 and 3. Phase 2 is the section that goes from where it ends by the parking lot at the beach to Waverly parking lot. Phase 3 is the section that goes where the current trail ends at the parking lot near Craven to all the way out, basically. So we're
Bless you.
not completely done with design for the Phase 3, but we want to bid these together, so within the next week, we want to finalize all that and have it out. It'll not come back at the next meeting, but at the first meeting in August, we'd want to award.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
So the Phase 3 from that Craven Pond lot, it'll go back to the ballparks, marina, the mountain bike kind of parking lot?
Past the mountain bikes, there'll be parking lot improvements at the mountain bike area, working with utilities on restrooms at that location as well. That was part of our Healthcare Foundation grant, and then goes out to Orchard.
And then just
Right.
stops there at Orchard, right?
Yeah.
Small road, yeah.
Small road, yeah.
But then you're also coming up,
There are additional phases in the park plan, master plan for the park, that include coming out to Garden Street. I always get Garden and Orchard confused. I don't know. It's like we come out to Garden Street and then over to finish the loop. So those are future phases.
we've also approved going up through the ballpark, the Diamonds, Soldiers Memorial.
Yes,
The
that's
trails
phase
that are
2.
there? The
Yeah.
trails.
The other side,
Yeah,
right?
the T-ball
From the
field.
beach.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
To the T-ball field?
Yeah.
At
HFL
Rotary?
and
Rotary
yeah.
fields? That's the T-ball field. Lions are baseball fields and softball
No,
fields.
Soldiers up on the hill.
Okay, yeah.
Coming up,
Yeah.
Are those
above
Rotary
Cummings.
Yeah.
fields?
By Cummins
I
Lodge?
can
Yeah.
send the plans
it's
over to
Rotary.
everybody too, so they can see where this all is.
Thanks.
So, do I have a motion
I think
We have
you
a
did.
motion and a second.
and a second? Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. A couple items for the public, I mentioned last evening, RTS that we inherited our trash. It's absolutely asinine how long this has taken just to have them pick up trash cans. We still are not anywhere where we have a date for pickup. We are, at this point, almost harassing RTS to say, hey, come pick up.
By harassing, what do you mean?
Calling.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
you
sorry,
said three
legally-
times, you said three
legally,
times a day
3 times
last
a day.
night, yeah.
I think on Saturday, it may have called twice, but just to get a date for pickup, so residents can put it out and we can be done with this. It's amazing. When did the contract end?
They're still
I thought it was
On,
March 1 or April 1?
on
May 1?
top of that, they continue to send additional monthly bills like they're still doing our
Yes.
trash, yes.
So,
Mayor, we did have, not a question today, but last night on the council meeting, and I thought maybe between you and the clerk treasurer, you could address this, but a gentleman was.
do you have a name?
Yes, Chris O'Keefe. He said that the
She.
city. Sorry, I apologize, yeah. She said that the city has doubled the debt since the mayor and his council took office, and have spent $29 million on annexation and barely can afford a fire truck. On the debt, can you, that, most of the debt that's been taken out is for the utility improvements, is that right?
All of the debt that we have, that has come about since the mayor and I took office is either from redevelopment commission, which is TIF funds, or it's user fee, it's revenues from user fees. So none of them are tax-based. The one bond that we did refund was a 2012
Refinance.
bond. We refinanced, lowered the interest rate, and saved 6 figures for taxpayers. That's the only one that touched tax-based funds. What was the other part of the question? Debt?
Then
Well,
there
and
was.
Ms. O'Keefe, just so you know, Mr. Batchelor and I went to the house as a part of 39. Didn't mention this, I've messaged her several times, so again, there really isn't an interest to find out the facts from this person.
And the fire truck is financed by revenues from the public safety lit.
Yes.
So that's.
And of course, 39 North has made this comment regarding the fire truck. The city's bond rating is what? It's an A+ rating? is
A+
it?
rating.
Right. Okay. I wish I got more of those in school. So. Okay. And in terms of annexation costs, I've been involved between both this administration and last administration, a lot of annexations. The city hasn't, I mean, we've expended some funds to do the annexations, right, the fiscal plan. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars, not even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 39 North annexation, which would involve the city potentially spending funds, that would be, again, funded usually through utility payments, right? I mean, that wouldn't, is that?
Or through the redevelopment commission.
Correct, right. And it's certainly not $29 million.
And we're hoping that Ms. O'Keefe will come to a public meeting and share this. So we invite her, we want her to come, share her facts, and, but some way I just can't get her to respond. But she was very kind to Jeff and I, but never brought any of this up, but, thank you.
I was just gonna say, I have to appreciate the fact that, you as mayor, are open to even Facebook comments, because typically it's not unusual, right, on social media for people to just sort of spout off with whatever information, whatever little kernels of information that may be facts, but may be inappropriate, or they don't know where they're coming from, or just misrepresenting the
And
facts.
lies.
Because it supports their opinion, it supports their perspective, it supports how they feel. But the bottom line is, I appreciate the fact that in an open public forum, you address these things with factual information. And, I mean, that's, unfortunately, you can't stop this kind of swirl from happening in many cases in, social media and public, people gather together. But I appreciate the fact that you address it up front in public.
And
You know, on the sewer separation that's going on 18th Street, one of the things I certainly did not know until I became the city attorney, I think Nick Minnick touched on this. When you don't have a sewer separation, that gets to the local river, that gets to the Mississippi, that screws up what's going on in the Gulf of Mexico. Like, we have an effect, like an environmental effect, and by doing this, right, we significantly reduce our footprint on that. Is that fair?
Yeah, and that's not even kind of the.
I mean, that's not even,
the
that's the
reason,
third or
but it
fourth
is.
reason you do this, but I
Besides
mean.
kids playing in sewer back up
Yeah.
in the street, you know, and we talk about
Things
the
like
health
that.
and wellness.
It looks real cute in the newspaper, but, ew.
Also, I wanted to commend, we're obviously excited that Geminis has opened up a family resource center next to Dollar Tree on the west side. Families can go there that may have mental health issues, that may need to find access to financial support for NIPSCO bills, to really anything, and that will now be available, and another great resource in addition to finding housing, because I'm sure you've heard this, housing for all types, from affordable to the higher end and everything in between. So I just want to say thank you to the residents that have really come out to care about their neighborhood and get the answers they need. So with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Have a great day, everybody.